Why pleasure matters when it comes to what you eat. Almost everyone has a response to the question, what's your favorite food? It's easy to understand why. Humans are naturally inclined to find pleasure in food. In fact, for many people, eating is one of life's greatest joys. In addition to making meals enjoyable, deriving pleasure from food has significant health benefits. Taking the time to savor food aids digestion, improves our relationship with food, helps overcome disordered eating, and more. Sometimes, the importance of experiencing pleasure from food is just as vital as the nutritional value of what we eat. Continue watching to explore the delightful reasons why pleasure matters when it comes to food. The psychology behind finding pleasure in eating. From a physiological perspective, the pleasure we derive from food occurs both in our mouths and in our brains. Pleasure of any kind, including pleasure from food, triggers the release of dopamine in the brain. Dopamine is often referred to as the feel-good hormone because it activates reward pathways in the brain, promoting happiness, calmness, motivation, and focus. When brain chemistry is functioning properly, our enjoyment of food can have physical benefits. When we genuinely enjoy the food we eat and stimulate dopamine release, our bodies digest and metabolize it more effectively. When we relax during a pleasurable eating experience, our nervous system enters a state of rest and digestion, allowing us to fully break down and utilize the nutrients from the foods we consume. Eating for pleasure can also promote healthier eating habits. There's a misconception that healthy food has to be bland or lacking in taste, but that's simply not true. When we eat food that we enjoy, satisfaction increases, which can actually improve the quality of our diet and reduce the likelihood of overeating or binge episodes. The emotional nourishment of the foods we eat. Mealtimes would be quite dull if food were merely a source of fuel. Eating encompasses a wide range of human experiences, from bringing us closer to loved ones to connecting us with our cultural heritage. In short, food provides emotional as well as physical nourishment. Here are some ways in which enjoying food can nourish your spirit. Food enjoyment enhances social connection. What's a party or family gathering without some delicious snacks? When people share meals together, it often contributes to a greater sense of happiness. Food enjoyment offers physical and emotional comfort. Whether it's a warm bowl of chicken soup when you're sick, a pasta dish that reminds you of your grandmother, or your favorite dessert that always hits the spot, certain foods have a way of lifting our spirits and soothing our bodies. Sometimes, food even provides comfort at the end of a challenging day, which many people associate with negative emotional eating. But when we allow ourselves to connect with the food and enjoy it, there are many benefits. Food enjoyment breaks free from diet culture's grip. Diet culture can be defined in various ways, but one common aspect of this societal messaging is the notion that you have to say no to foods you love, especially if they are high in calories or fat. Choosing to mindfully enjoy the foods you eat helps break free from this harmful mindset. When all foods are allowed without restrictions, including the most delicious ones, the body learns to trust that it will receive what it needs. Granting permission for these foods that have been labeled as bad or off limits is an important step in the healing process and can help individuals feel more at peace, confident, and liberated around food. Food enjoyment connects us to our cultural heritage. Decades of research have consistently shown that a sense of belonging is crucial for mental health. And what better way to experience a sense of belonging than through your family or cultural heritage? This is where food enjoyment can play a significant role. Culture and tradition serve as a means of connecting with others and ourselves. Restricting or denying foods that foster connection can lead to disengagement and loneliness. By excluding cultural foods, we're not only labeling the food as bad, but also deeming the underlying identity associated with the food as bad. Embracing these foods can ultimately create a sense of freedom and belonging that elevates your mental well-being. Eating for pleasure versus emotional eating. You've likely heard that emotional eating is not ideal. Using food as a way to cope with both positive and negative emotions, such as stress, anger, or sadness, often leads to mindless consumption and a complicated relationship with food. It's understandable if you're cautious about the idea of eating for pleasure. Fortunately, emotional eating and eating for pleasure differ in both intent and outcomes. Emotional eating occurs when people use food as a coping mechanism for emotions. whether positive or negative. Eating for pleasure involves choosing food specifically to enjoy its taste, texture, and overall experience, like having an ice cream cone in the summer or biting into an apple straight from the orchard. Another key distinction between these behaviors is the level of connection you feel toward your food. Emotional eating often involves a lack of connection or disassociation with the food. When eating for pleasure, there's usually a genuine connection and enjoyment derived from the food. Of course, there's no strict boundary between emotional eating and eating for enjoyment, and sometimes the two may overlap. One way to differentiate between the two is to consider how you feel afterward. Mindfully savoring your food should not leave you with feelings of guilt or shame. If you or someone you know is struggling with an eating disorder or have concerns about developing one, it's important to seek help from a qualified professional as soon as possible. Pleasure and nourishment, a perfect combination. Few things in life compare to the everyday joy of finding pleasure in food. The food we consume nourishes our bodies, comforts our spirits, and delights our taste buds. To bring more pleasure to your meals, start with small steps. When preparing a meal or snack, consider if there's anything you could do to make it even 10% more enjoyable. Sometimes, heating up a brownie, adding some goat cheese to a salad, or pouring more milk to thin out a bowl of oatmeal can transform an eating experience from métier. Lastly, when you finish a meal, reflect on the amount of pleasure your food provided. What positive emotions arose from emotionally connecting with the items on your plate? Taking mental notes like these can help make future food choices even more delicious. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future. Your support through likes and subscriptions would be greatly appreciated, because it enables us to grow and create more content like this. If you enjoyed this video, there's a good chance you'll enjoy this one too.